What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and it's been an interesting week in terms of news. We've obviously had plenty of Rings of Power news and plenty of Little Mermaid hysteria, and there was a little bit of a Brie outburst too that happened. In the wake of the Brie Larson red carpet melty, it's been an interesting time here in the Quartering HQ. Not only do I have the coof again randomly, no one else around me has it, and I haven't left the house in weeks. Apparently, there was just a little invisible person came into my house and gave it to me. It's been fun to watch, and now David Jaffe, a man that I've had a good conversation with, who is the God of War director in the video game world, has come to the defense of Brie Larson by calling everyone misogynistic, homophobic, and racist, because it's 2016. I don't really know. All I can know is that it's a wild time for this video sponsors, the Epic Times. Check this out. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, the Epic Times. The Epic Times brings you breaking US and world news on all your devices and original Epic TV programs like Crossroads, The Larry Elder Show, Facts Matter, American Thought Leaders, and award-winning documentaries. Why use the Epic Times? Well, it's unbiased. They report important news that other media organizations ignore. They just report the facts and trust their discerning readers, that's you, to arrive at your own conclusions. Give the Epic Times a try. I think you'd like it. They have a special offer that I've been able to give to you, my viewers. Here, $1 for 2 months. So go on over to the epictimes.es/thequartering and subscribe today. I'll leave the link in the description and pinned comment down below. Check them out. In the latest vie for attention from perhaps one of, if not the most unwarrantedly condescending video game developers of all time, the original God of War director David Scott Jaffe has accused male critics of the MCU's female-led projects of being misogynistic, phobic, and racist, on the patently false grounds that they don't rag on the shared universe's poorly made male-led entries. Well, of course, that's just incorrect. Certainly, I made several videos about Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, mostly with the about the main character's social media outbursts. There's also many movies that I just tweeted out at a little tweet storm. I did videos on it. Thor: Love and Thunder stunk. Was easily the second worst Thor movie, one of the top 5 worst MCU movies. It can't be worse than Dark World, I suppose, but it was very bad. Rewatching it on Disney Plus the other night, garbage, just garbage. The goats thing, overplay, the jokes, joke. Yes, we get it. Thor's a big dummy. Thor's just a goofball dummy that needs women to correct him at every possible turn. Yes, we know. Let the strong, independent women who sit on the sidelines tell him when it's time to enact their plan against Zeus. The whole movie was belittling him the entire way through, and that could have all been forgiven if the thing was actually funny or compelling, and it just wasn't. Christian Bale, wasted in that movie, plays the character very well. Really, the first 10 minutes of that movie were probably the most interesting. But again, so it's, of course, patently false that people only criticize female-led MCU movies. And also the claim, of course, that he made that, people didn't like Black Widow, which is patently false. People absolutely liked Black Widow. And they would have came out and they would have showed out to see that movie in the movie theater if it weren't, worldwide lockdown. David Scott Jaffe writes, they can say Captain Marvel is a bad movie. I mean, it's objectively mid. I don't know if I would go all the way to bad. Most of the movies that Marvel puts out now are mid. The reason Captain Marvel made $1 billion is it had probably the most advantageous release slot in cinematic history leading up to Endgame. Like, in cinematic history. It was billed as required reading between Civil War and Endgame. Had to go see it. Made $1 billion. Was a mid movie. Anyway, they can say Captain Marvel's a bad movie, but here's the truth. They don't like Brie because she doesn't give an F about them. Oh, she does. She had a red carpet meltdown. She doesn't pine for their love or affection. Yes, she does. She started a whole YouTube channel for that. She doesn't need their adulation. That may be true. She won't kiss the nasty ring of underdeveloped geek men, so they hate her for it. I mean, it's just wrong. I like you, David. We had a very nice conversation, but it's just wrong, bro. Like, you just haven't been around this game long enough to make this kind of wild statement. People didn't like Brie Larson because of really not anything she had really done in the MCU. It was her, like, I don't really care what a 40-year-old white guy has to say about A Stitch in Time. We need more movie reviewers of different colors because reasons. There's all sorts of weak social justice-y things that she had done. I don't think, and I hope that people don't like genuinely have anything against her because, even I, like I say it tongue-in-cheek on this channel, but like, I mean, I'm sure Brie Larson is a very nice person in real life. I'm sure she is. And I don't obviously have anything against her. I've never met her. Following the initial point, Jeffy asserted in a separate tweet that, quote, they hate Black Widow, incorrect. She-Hulk, that's correct. Miss Marvel, incorrect. And Captain Marvel, I guess correct. AKA strong women who don't pine for male approval. They love Scarlet Witch, a woman who literally destroys universes because she can't have the man she loves. Well, again, this is one of those things that's just not, he's just not watching. He's just not watching the videos. I talked about this at length in several videos about Scarlet Witch in the WandaVision show. She's essentially a villain, and I don't like that. She held a whole city hostage because she was having a melty. I don't think that she was a good character. I don't think that she was a hero. I mean, that's not her arc. And I can't say that I love the character at all. Scarlet Witch is very powerful, certainly. And the actress herself has gotten into fewer kind of scuttles off camera, like off film. But I wouldn't say that Scarlet Witch is universally loved. It should be noted that despite his smug demeanor, Jaffe's entire argument is predicated on an entirely false recollection of the MCU. Exactly. Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Spencer. I agree. Not only did the last episode of She-Hulk center entirely around her desire for a boyfriend and not even feature an explicit and even feature a spicy moment highlighting her disappointment that her Gen form did not get the approval of the man she had a good date with, but Scarlet Witch is not destroying universes for Vision, but rather her children, as depicted by the events of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Met with the obvious truth from Lockmort, and his argument also falls apart due to the fact that, quote, they love Yelena, Shuri, Kate, Jessica Jones, okay, Katie Chen, Valkyrie, Nebula, Gamora, or take it to the MCU and keep it current. Kim Wexler, Ahsoka, Kimiko, Max, and Rue. Good point. All the female characters from Guardians of the Galaxy are universally loved. Valkyrie, I could take her, leave her, but I mean, she's pretty irrelevant, like pretty non-intrusive, right? They simply are women, he said. But have a geek story be a geek story, but it also speaks to, from the female experience, the sky is falling on these people because it makes them terribly uncomfortable. That's what he said. But Jeffy did not just claim that male fans, didn't he claim that male fans love Scarlet Witch? A character whose entire character arc deals with being a mother and the lengths at which she would go in her misguided quest to find them again? And what about the widespread love given to Jessica Jones' first season, prior to its writing going down the tubes in later seasons and causing general audiences, not just men, to lose affection for the Netflix series, which features her trauma as a central element of her story? Surely he has taken note of the widespread criticism that in Black Widow, Yelena treats the Red Room standard performance of histriomics and on recruits as a joke, when in Avengers Age of Ultron, her sister Natasha was clearly traumatized by the process. To this end, it appears apparent that Jaffe was again more concerned with getting in the dunk than making any sort of actual point. Attempting to give his argument an exit of sorts, Jaffe then concluded his Twitter rant, last thing, do they have points that some stories are not fantastic? 100%, but that's almost any movie. And that's fine, he admitted. But the viciousness and consistency with which they beat on the not perfect women films that comes off as creepy and worrisome. Following his standard playbook, after spending a day or so engaging with the discourse sparked by his disingenuous claims, Jaffe offered an actual, quote, last word on the subject in an impromptu, falsehood-laced video shared to his Twitter. "I didn't realize some of you folks needed this much help," opened Jaffe, employing his aforementioned signature condescension in response to his seeming inability to accept that even though those he's appointed himself to champion found his take to be off base. "I called them misogynistic, or their actions misogynistic, and immediately rushed to Twitter and go, no, they're just bad. What about how we don't hate Wonder Woman? We hate Wonder Woman 1984, all this stuff. Dismissing the valid counterpoint, Jaffe snob. Yes, you are missing the point." No, I think he's clearly missing the point. Do I think Brie Larson gets an unfair amount of hate in inappropriate or disproportionate amount of hate? Yes, I do. But I also think that Brie Larson goes out of her way to bring it upon herself, like with her red carpet meltdown. Well, does anyone even want me to? Does anybody even want me to do this anymore? Like, you're not doing yourself any favors coming off as likable when you have this type of thing. Now, I understand, by the way, I 100% understand why she feels the way she does. And I understand her in a very human moment that she had, perhaps her emotions got the best of her. And to be quite honest, I guess we'll have the answer when the Marvels comes out. I actually think her statement about does anybody actually want me to play this character anymore is deeper than people would want you to believe. I think that it's a comment to not just the fans that didn't like her, but also management at Disney and Marvel, who basically took the movie away from her. It's no longer called Captain Marvel. It's called The Marvels. And she's got 1, 2, 3, 4 co-stars now, and they keep, reducing her role. I think that may be more at the root of what she's saying about her meltdown than anything else. I'm curious to hear what you have to say in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video, though, and we'll talk to you again real soon.